Lifesaving Station. The whole county was bathing in fat white snowflakes when I woke up Saturday morning, just after sunrise at my usual weekday time. My body had long since stopped shifting gears on the weekends and insisted on maintaining my 9 p.m. bedtime and 6 a.m. wake-up routine regardless of the day of the week. I'd always thought it was funny how the snow actually brings warmth in Maryland, making the temperature higher than it was the day before. Snowplows were lined up in full force at the MVA parking lot, full of sand and waiting for I don't know what. I sat in my favorite cow print pajamas, sipped my coffee, and waited for the chaos to begin. No one else up but me and the angels, my Meemaw used to say about this time of day. It didn't last long. My last-born was too excited to sleep late today and woke up hyperverbal and hyperactive. Luca's dark brown hair, olive skin, and espresso bean eyes made him a cut and paste of my husband, but that's where the similarities ended. Luca was an acquired taste, a high-velocity mix of sweat, new muscles, half-baked ideas, and freshly squeezed testosterone. He burst into the kitchen full of instructions and requests. "Mom, can you open the garage and get my sled? I told Theo we'd be over today before 10 a.m., and I don't want the snow to melt before I get there. Do you know where my gloves are? Can you find me a backup pair? Do you think I need snow pants? I hate wearing snow pants. Last year's are too tight, and I think James took his to college with him. I am not wearing any of the girls' pants. They always pick pink, and I hate pink. I'd rather get wet and change. Or I could wear lots of pairs of pants and just peel them off when one gets wet. Do you think that would work? Will my green sweatpants cover over all the pants I own? They're the loosest." All that before Luca even settled at his spot at the table, waiting to be served by some mystery waitress. "First of all, good morning, Luca. I slept well. Thanks for asking. Also, I'm not going to load your sled and gear for you, but you are most welcome to get my keys from the hook and fish out whatever you need from the garage. I'm pretty sure there are 6 different pairs of gloves in the top bin in the foyer. Take as many as you need. Also, unless you want to spend the rest of your weekend washing wet clothes, I wouldn't wear every pair of pants you own on the sledding hill. It doesn't sound very comfortable." I heaved up from my chair, crossed the kitchen, and began swiping in the code to the cable locks for the fridge and cabinets. "You can help yourself to some yogurt and granola, or make some toast, and—" "Where's the orange juice?" Luca yells, already shoulders deep into the top shelf of the fridge. "I can't find it in here. I bet Rena drank it. She always eats everything." Rena was my 3rd child, who is currently 16 years old and was a floppy newborn with an error on her 15th chromosome. Within a year, Rena was given the diagnosis Prader-Willi Syndrome, and we learned about locking up the fridge, food cabinets, and trash cans. People with Prader-Willi have an insatiable appetite. "Like a heat-seeking missile for food," my husband explains to people. Their brains don't register when they're full, and they struggle with cognitive and behavior problems. Locking up food sounds incredibly cruel, but actually, it's the kindest thing we could do for Rena. It manages the inevitable obesity that comes with this genetic condition and takes away some of the anxiety around the constant urge to eat. That said, we don't have people over much. They would not understand. Last year at the mall, Rena slipped away from our family and we found her in the food court. She was eating out of the trash while some kids from Luca's class laughed at her. Luca was mortified and now places every kind of blame on her shoulders any chance he gets. Luca understands Rena can't control her eating, but he's still mad at her for having the syndrome in the first place. Some days, it feels like there isn't enough therapy in the world to raise these children. "I want toast, but I don't want your bread. I don't like your homemade bread." Luca whined. "Of course you don't," I thought to myself. My kids have no idea how lucky they are to have a mother who bakes bread. Who bakes anything? They'd much prefer to dine from the pantry aisle at the Dollar General. A hard truth I try not to dwell on. With James away at Stevenson University for nursing, my other daughter, Marta, skiing with her bestie, and Rena away with my husband, Jim, at a Special Olympics bowling tournament, Luca had me all to himself today, a rare treat. What did he want to do with our time together? Go to Theo's house and go sledding. Hey, don't threaten me with a good time. I love being by myself. An hour later, we were in my silver Honda Pilot, cruising through the snow-bleached roads of Western Maryland and listening to Nirvana. Theo and Luca were both in the 8th grade, but didn't share any classes this year. They've been friends since 6th grade, which is a somewhat noteworthy friendship considering the middle school relationship scale. Neither one would be considered the studious type, but what they lack in academics, they more than make up for in enthusiasm for 90s grunge bands and molar-grinding attempts at the bass guitar. Luca's new favorite hobby was schooling me as a lyrical sensei about artists that made it big my freshman year of high school. Thanks a heap, kid. I already know. I saw Kurt Cobain live. Theo lives in a new development of luxury homes on the other side of our little town, about as far away as you can be and still be in the Little Creek School District. Western Maryland is pretty rural, so each school covers a good chunk of land. Pulling up, Luca launches himself from the Pilot before I could even put it in park and was hurling his sled onto the Bautista's front yard as I cut the engine. Theo's mother happened to be one of my closest friends, the only one to be inside my kitchen. So I let myself in from the sweeping white veranda and stepped out of my faux ankle Uggs. Padding down the hall, I followed the scent of French vanilla coffee to the breakfast bar. I filled my turquoise Awala travel mug from the coffee maker while Luca ferreted Theo out of the basement. "Hey," Kate says softly, breezing into the kitchen with her light brown hair in a loose bun. Her gorgeous almond-shaped eyes, inherited from her Thai grandmother, were dramatically highlighted with gold eyeshadow and long false lashes. She was wearing a red pantsuit, gold shimmery blouse, and her always attached earbud. "Give me 1 minute," Kate whispers, holding her index finger up, which means it'll easily be another 15. Kate was an exceptionally talented real estate agent, and Saturdays are her busiest day. Theo is a product of in vitro fertilization and inexorable life goals. Kate got herself pregnant when she turned 35 and surrounded her tiny family with truly remarkable village friends and family. I was swept up in Kate's magnetic tide and pulled into friendship with her the winter the boys turned 12. Kate was relentlessly charismatic, and her single status is a mystery among us PTA moms. Kate said she was waiting for the perfect woman, but I'm starting to wonder if her standards were a touch too high, even for an overachiever. As Kate wound down her call, the boys made a plan to drag their sleds through the woods to Wagner Park to a less popular sledding hill. "Got your phone?" I double-checked with my distracted child. "Yep." Luca briefly glances my way while fishing his camouflage gloves out of his parka pocket and tugging them on. "Okay, Miss Kate has to work today, so if you guys get cold or hurt or need anything, call me, not her. Got it?" Luca and Theo concurred, and I waved goodbye to Kate as I headed back out the door. Her hazel eyes widened before she flashed me an apologetic smile and mouthed, "Sorry." I gave her a quick nod with a grin and followed the boys to the porch. I was gingerly picking through a shelf full of musty aquariums at Goodwill when I felt my phone vibrate. Rena had asked for a tropical fish tank for her 16th birthday, and with 4 kids plus college tuition on our bankroll, we cut corners wherever we can. Yes, she could have fish, but I would have to hold on to the fish food. "Hello?" I answered, after reading Luca's name on my caller ID. Mom! You have to come get us. It's so cold here, and the wind is blowing, and we can't see anything, and it's awful. It's a total whiteout blizzard, and I think I have frostbite on my hands from using my phone. Can you hurry now? It's so cold." Luca's voice comes tumbling through my phone in an urgent cascade of supplication. No one has ever accused my son of lacking emotion. But on the off chance they really were at risk, I abandoned the fish tanks and headed for the sliding glass doors. "Where are you?" I asked, just to clarify that the boys stayed at the park and didn't wander further into the woods. "We're in a porta potty." "You're what?" "We're in a porta potty. We needed any shelter we could get to because the winds were so strong. Theo suggested we use it as a foxhole until we could get to safety. We didn't have any other options, Mom. We're just trying to survive until you get here. Hurry!" The line went silent. I stepped out into the parking lot, expecting the snow to have picked up more in a sudden winter blitz. Reflecting off the snow were actual sunbeams dancing from the sky, causing the ground to look like a million tiny crystals. The snow had stopped falling since I arrived at Goodwill, and with the exception of a stiff breeze, the day was absolutely beautiful. What was happening over at Wagner Park? 10 minutes later, I'm pulling into a completely vacant parking lot, a half-mile away from the slope the kids professed to be their destination. There was not a soul in sight. A lone porta potty sat silently by the baseball field. It had to be them. I had never noticed it before, but then again, why would I? We weren't a little league family. I left the heated cocoon of my Pilot and crunched my way over to the porta-john. Guys? Theo? Luca? You can come out now. I called from 10 feet away, my voice carried off in the wind. Silence. Are you in there? Hello? I knock on the door, which was locked, and a bright red occupied sign was visible. Nothing. Then a quick open and close of the door, just enough for a peek. Mom? Is that you? A voice calls out in total seriousness. Luca, who else is going to be knocking on the door of this porta potty in January? I heard whispering, followed by a louder whisper, conferring back, Dude, I think it's really her. For the love. Finally, the blue plastic door swings open and two balaclava-clad adolescent bundles burst forth from their rectangular bunker, followed by the scent of artificial air freshener and frozen sewage. Mom, we almost died. If Theo hadn't suggested holing up in the porta potty, I don't think we would have survived. Luca sputtered upon being rescued. Miss Ani, we were blinded by the blowing snow and almost couldn't see our way out of the parking lot, Theo added earnestly. Theo, there's no snow blowing anywhere, I pointed out, motioning to the empty, snow-coated field awash in reflections of sunlight. Well, it fogged up my glasses at least, Leo conceded seriously. I climbed into the Pilot as the boys recapped once again their narrow escape from the elements and the odds of finding a porta potty in the nick of time. And society thinks girls are the dramatic ones? Looking through my windshield at the pellucid day, I noticed that the distance to the porta potty was just a little bit further from the sledding hill than if the boys had just turned around and walked home. I keep this little fact to myself. No sense in bringing logic and common sense in now. I think we're trauma bonded, I hear Theo whispering to Luca in a low voice, clearly not wanting his friend's mother to overhear them cementing their brohood. I rub my eyes at the ridiculousness of it all and put the Pilot in reverse. These bourgeois, suburban, not-yet men have never seen trauma a day in their lives. Miss Ani, I think Luca has frostbite. He should probably go to the doctor. After inspecting every possible inch of frostbitten skin and seeing nothing but clammy teenage flesh, I leave the boys to their world of Minecraft and bagel bites at Theo's house and head home. I wasn't out of their posh, 3-car garage-loving cul-de-sac before I had Kate on Bluetooth. I hope you're not with a client now because our kids are idiots, I lead the way in a wry tone. What now? Kate asked pragmatically. I continue. I love them beyond all reason, but I received a call that they suffered a near-death experience at Wagner Park, only making it through by the life-saving grace of a portable dumper. By the end of the call, Kate was laughing so hard she couldn't breathe, complaining about tears streaming through her bronze Hermes eyeliner before an open house. I can't believe they think they are trauma bonded now. Kate barely got the words out. Where did they even learn that phrase? I thought IVF kids were supposed to be smart, I responded, ignoring her question. You literally had the donor's IQ written on a piece of paper in front of you. What happened? Kate was dying. I clenched my thighs together to keep my seat dry as I drove. Luca was the luck of the draw. I didn't have nearly as many variables under my control as you did. He got whatever brain cells I had left after birthing 3 prior children. But Theo? He was supposed to have been handcrafted by the cream of the crop, I teased. How could they have ended up sitting together in a porta potty? Were they on each other's laps? Kate gasped. No, I reply in mock disbelief. Luca was sitting on the floor. I gagged. Oh my goodness, stop it. They are definitely bros for life now, Kate's voice conferred as she took a deep breath. Okay, I gotta go. My open house is starting. Thanks for saving our kids' lives today. I owe you one. We hung up as my little house came into view. It was a smallish cabin set back from the road on a wooded lot where we play whack-a-mole with Lyme disease from all the deer ticks. I turned into our pothole-laden driveway. I could smell the smoke from our wood-burning stove. I hadn't laughed that hard in a long time. Raising kids was pure insanity, especially with one foot in the disability world, but this was the good stuff of life. You can plan all the memorable moments you want. Expensive vacations to Disney, hot, sticky road trips to national monuments, or sandy trips to the beach. But the best parts of family life were organic, bubbling up out of half-grown kids with undercooked logic during ordinary days. It made the hard days worth it and kept me putting one fake UGG in front of the other.